Hi, my sweet cupcakes. It's been quite a moment since I created a YouTube video for you guys. I'm back and we're better than ever. We're gonna create this awesome Bowser prosthetic piece. This is one of the biggest pieces I've ever created. I'm so excited for the Super Mario movie to come out next month and to create this whole series. So let's get into the video. Using Model Magic, we're going to start by creating the teeth. I ended up making the teeth kind of long, but the teeth ended up needing to be a little bit shorter because the mouth wasn't as big as I had created it, and you don't want them to be very long to have to like shove them into the liquid latex because then it starts to warp the liquid latex and then you have to like remold it. So make them a little bit shorter and those will be easier to attach. We're going to start out with my face cast, and I'm going to build up on the face cast with plastiline clay. This is going to build up the interior of the mask that way that it's not all made out of liquid latex because it already was really heavy the way it was. And this way I'm just building up the inside so we can use less liquid latex. We're going to make our liquid latex paste. I'm using liquid latex. A thinner latex is always best. And then with flour, I do about 3 parts liquid latex and 2 parts flour to make it into about a cookie dough consistency. Apply the liquid latex to the mask, and we're going to apply this in stages. So you'll apply the liquid latex, use a little bit of liquid latex on your finger to smooth it out. Once you get it nice and smooth, we're going to put it in the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds just to get it to have kind of like a harder shell on it. You can kind of see that it's created a little bit of a harder shell. And then you're going to apply liquid latex over top of that. And now we are actually going to start creating Bowser's like face. So the best thing to do is to try to build up that plastiline clay as best as possible to his face so that you don't have to use as much liquid latex. I definitely used a lot of liquid latex on this, and I could have built up the interior of it a little bit better with that plastiline clay. So if you can get that built up with that plastiline clay, that'll save you a lot on the time and on the liquid latex products. When building up his face, I am looking at different reference images so I can get a good idea of how his face is looking on each side. Just do it to the best of your capabilities. This does not have to look perfect. Do what you can. We're all learning here, so this is like my first time making it too. The cool thing about liquid latex when you put it in the microwave is it heats it up around and it makes it kind of have like a shell on the outside. So it's kind of still squishy on the inside, and you can use that to your advantage to kind of reshape some of the areas that you want. So for the front of his face, it was quite puffy. So I wanted to make sure it looked very three-dimensional and puffed out and not looking flat. So I could actually kind of squeeze the cheeks and make it reform into the way that I want. So you can use that to your advantage. I have the face propped up with some plastiline clay. This way it actually will take the chin a little bit further from my desk so that I have more space to create that big bubbled up chin that he has. For the chin of the mask, I had to throw that into the microwave about 3 separate times because it was so heavy it kept falling. So to keep from that, you could just pop it in the microwave and that will kind of like put it in that still spot. When you're on your final step or your final stage of putting on the liquid latex on the chin, you'll start adding in your little teeth that you made with Model Magic. I saved the forehead for last because that's the thinnest layer of liquid latex paste that needed to be applied. I think this was about day 2 or 3 when I finally applied the forehead piece. You do want this piece to dry over probably a week. It does take a while for it to dry. Even after throwing it into the microwave, the liquid latex is so thick. That's why if you can build up the plastiline better than I did and create a thinner layer of the liquid latex, it will dry faster. Once it is dry, you're going to powder the outside of the mask, and you're going to start by powdering the inside to make sure it doesn't stick to itself. This mask is pretty thick, so it's not really going to stick to itself, but it's always best to make sure to powder everything. I do need to take out all of the plastiline clay on the inside. You want to remove all of that because this mask is already very heavy. You don't want that clay to be in there, and you try to apply it to your face. You can just apply the mask to your face, but I do like to create kind of like a mesh over the mouth so you can't see mine. I'm using a white cheesecloth with food coloring to dye it. If you wanted to, you could just skip this step, hot glue the cloth right into the mouth, and then paint over it. I end up trying to do this to create a base on that cloth. I let it dry out. Once I hot glued it in, I just painted over top of it to get it the vibrancy that I needed it to be. For the eyebrows, I'm using Model Magic, and to create some of the little hair pieces, I'm just taking some scissors to kind of chop into that Model Magic, and that will create little hair bits. And then I took one of my clay tools and I'm just carving into that Model Magic to give it just some hair streaks. Painting the mask is definitely my favorite part. I used a yellow cream paint to paint the bottom half of the face just to create a nice foundation on the mask, and then I'm using a white cream paint to paint on top of that. On the top of the forehead, I'm going over it with a green cream paint that I later on use a green face paint to go over top of, and that better matched the reference image. Set the bottom of the mask with like a whiter eyeshadow. That way when you're touching the mask, a lot of that cream paint isn't coming off on your fingers. Using a red body paint, I painted over the eyebrows. I did about 2 layers because once the first layer dries, it is pretty white. And then I took a little bit of a white body paint and I just kind of grazed over the top of the eyebrows just to give them a little bit more definition on the eyebrows. And here's our completed mask. I did take some brown eyeshadows to build up some of the dimension around the bottom of the face, for the nostrils, the inside of the mouth, and I feel like that really just made it pop. I hope that this video was very helpful for you, and I'm really excited for you to create your own Bowser mask if that's something that you want to do. If not, thank you very much for watching this video just for the pure entertainment and supporting me on my journey in my makeup life. I appreciate you guys. I love you so much. Bye, my little cupcakes.